Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a great holiday weekend. Well, things starting off here pretty much neutral. S&P futures trading inside of the prior day's range. We've got this overall possibly topping pattern here. We've got the new high failure from a couple of weeks ago, and prices bounced off of the 50 and just trading sideways. Based on the uptrend, it could resume and break to the upside, but until things tighten up here, as far as this market index goes, best just stay away unless you're a day trader. To trade these. You can see the sideways chop here on the 30-minute chart, and so we'll just see how this plays out. Excuse me. Nasdaq down to support. This is where the damage is being done. Tech, semiconductors, software. So cut through the 50 down here to support. It's bouncing here pre-market. It's in a downtrend. So there'll be sellers up in this area if it can get up there. Just looking at the pre-market. It's right up against this resistance here. So as the open happens in the early morning of the trading, we'll see if this can get through this and then possibly attack the next level up. Crude oil. Had a nice bounce here last week and up against the 50 in this little resistance area. These two little areas right here. Down pre-market and had a little support, but the uptrend is broken, and so now you want to play it from the short side. Just wait for your setup, and we'll see how low this can possibly go. As covered last week, it's in this support area. Just give me a second here. It's in that support area there, so we were looking for the bounce, and it has. So how far can it go? Well, last week being the big green week here, it is at this little resistance. But, since that support maybe it can get through, we'll just have to see if today, how does it close red? And if it does, well, then that opens up the door for more of a pullback. But having a big weekly green candle like that, it's a powerful buy at major support. Does suggest it could get higher here, but as mentioned, it's broken, so it's got some work to do. So the thing, can it repair this uncertainty from this break, go sideways for a day or two, or dip and come back? So the play from the bottom, the best or the easiest part of the trade is done, and now we'll see, what it does from here. Bonds, pretty deep pullback and steep, and a steep one, meaning the angle that it retraced at. It's pretty steep. So, where it cleared this weekly resistance, it's pulled back really further than it should have, but the weekly trend is still intact. But if buyers are going to step up here, they're going to need to do it in a hurry. And this breakdown proving to be a failed one versus, if it continues to move down here, well, we've just established a wider whippy trading range, but we'll see what happens with that. And gold. Gold down a whole heck of a lot here from this prior high. This retracement here suggested possibly it could continue after a shallow pullback, but the pullback was deep. It's here at some significant support, and no sign of it beginning to hold as of yet. You can see here on the 24-hour chart. So trending down. So we'll see if you're a gold trader, give it a little time here, and if you're short, well, of course, start trail stopping, tighten up. And Tesla here is down pre-market. So here's one for the gap trades, possibly. And you've got Goldman Sachs having lowered its target for its sell rating from 190 down to 180. So they're looking for Tesla to come down here over time, which by definition means it's going to break this support. It's going to get through the 50 MA. This 20 MA is actually is also a 100 on a daily chart. So they're suggesting it's going to get through there and through the 200 and pretty much a bear market decline. So we'll see if they're right about that. But you've got a small move to the downside here. It's at 347. Little support there. I would say that 50 MA is probably going to act like a magnet. So there's one for a possible gap trade. NCR, I like this. You know, the gap down isn't that big. Right? It's trading 38.60 right here, just under the support slightly. And, you know, I guess it's got that tail to deal with here. But, you know, you've had this sideways chop right at, intersecting the moving averages, where potential for it to bounce, and it couldn't, and now it's gapping down. So that, I think, opens up the door for, you know, further downside. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one this morning in the first 5 or 10 minutes or so to see what it does. And Pandora, it's in the area where, you know, sellers are going to come in, right up here at the 50 and the prior high. But it's getting some attention here, this move by some upgrades. So it had a decent week, this reversal. I think it can get higher. I'm going to keep an eye on this to see how this handles this resistance area here, whether it can make a higher low or go sideways. So that's of interest. The financials, which I showed you last week, this pullback, as well as JPM above 88, had a great move. And Citi had that pullback to the 20. But they're up against some resistance here. So I would expect them to stall. And last thing I'm going to cover here is the transports. Since they made a new all-time high. And so they, you know, you got the topping tail here, but so far they're holding on. A lot of these stocks have moved up over 5 days in a row. So I expect the transports are going to stall here as well. So, you know, looking at the S&Ps, the extent of what was strong, which has moved already, I wouldn't expect too much out of this market to the upside here. And, you know, just going back to the S&P chart here, unless it breaks here, I guess I'm not expecting too much on the downside either until things develop. So that's it. Have a great trading day. We'll talk tomorrow.